and I just had a feeling, I'm like, he's gonna turn up on that log and start walking towards that sow, which would have put him broadside for me.
Yeah.
So sure enough, he did that. I drew my bow back again, picked the spot, shot, hit the bear. The bear did a monkey flip off of that log, ran down into the bottom of this draw, and immediately the first thing I did, I knew I hit that bear good. I put my bow down and grabbed my handgun.
Welcome to Hunting Stories, brought to you by Late to the Game Outdoors. Everyone loves a good story, and hunters have some of the best. Our whole mission is to collect and share great stories from hunters just like you, to entertain and keep you motivated all year long. So, pull up a seat around the campfire, because here we go. Today on the podcast, I am thrilled to have my buddy Josh Kirchner from Dialed In Hunter on the show. Josh has just a pile of amazing stories, and we're going to get into one of them today that is my absolute favorite. But he's just a wealth of information, a great guy, and a terrific hunter. So, without further ado, let's get to Josh. All right, hey Josh, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? Not much, just hanging out. Just got back from the chiropractor, old man stuff, you know.
Oh, I know very well. I'm wearing a hat, ironically, a hat that my chiropractor gave to me. I am wearing today.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
I don't think you can spend the kind of time we spend in the mountains and not have a good chiropractor.
No, I poo-pooed on the idea for a while, just kind of holding on to my youth.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It really, really makes a difference. I can't imagine life without a chiropractor now.
Yeah, I no judgment. I totally get it. We are, we're not the oldest guys, but
no,
we're not 22 anymore either.
No, we're not. we're seasoned.
Oh man, yes, that's the best way to put it. Yeah. Well, the gray in my beard is seasoning.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
how we'll say it. Dude, you're just a wealth of so many awesome hunting stories, and my wife cannot believe the amount of time that you and I can spend if I'm like, hey, I'm going to hang out with Josh, and then hours go by while we just swap stories. And
yeah,
I love it. When I got this podcast rolling, you were the first guy on my mind. Like, I have got to get Josh to share some of his killer stories.
I appreciate that, man.
Dude, so thank you for taking the time. The first one that comes to mind, one of your stories that I know I have personally told to a few other people already, just because it's that good, is your first archery bear. It's an amazing story. If you could walk us through how that journey coalesced into this magnificent moment, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, that was one for the books for sure, man. That's something, that's a hunt I'll never forget. It started. I started hunting out bears with a rifle, really because I thought it was impossible almost, to get one with a bow, spot and stock out here. But the more I hunted them, I'm like, you know what? I feel like I can do it. I'm gonna go for it. And if anybody knows me, they know two things that are very dear to me is bow hunting and bear hunting. So you put the two of those things together. And that's a party for me. I just really, really enjoy that. So yeah, I spent quite a few seasons getting close calls, and but nothing ever panned out from that. But through those close calls, I think it's important. No matter if you're bow hunting or maybe you're just starting out and you're rifle hunting deer. You need to recognize your little victories that you have.
Yeah.
And it could be something as small as, if you're not good at finding deer, maybe you found deer that season. And then that's something where it's like, yeah, okay, that's a win. Maybe you didn't shoot one, but you found them, right? So now you're getting closer. You're one step closer to making it happen. And for me, that was one particular situation was, I was sitting in the bottom of a canyon, overlooking a few different rock bowls of water that the bears like to go swimming in and stuff. And then right when I sat down, I looked up and there was a bear walking along a bluff, probably 200 yards above me. And that bear went and bedded down. I never could get over to that bear from where I was. It was just too thick. Another bear came walking into my left. A sow, a beautiful golden reddish sow, came walking out of the brush to take a swim, and I was about to draw my bow, and then a couple cubs popped out.
Oh, man.
It was a beautiful bear, yeah. So she walked off, and we were so close. She was at 40 yards when she walked out of the water. You know how a wet mop sounds when it hits the ground?
Yeah.
Like that's the sound of all her hair just smacking on the ground. So that was awesome. And then that night, the day goes by, and I was hoping, okay, that bear I saw this morning, he went over and bed down over this little bump, and I was hoping he'd come back out in the evening, and sure enough, he did. Little did I know, all of a sudden he starts blazing down the hill into the bottom of the canyon towards my direction, and I'm like, why did he do that? So I look up above, and I just see this giant bear come walking out, and that's what he was running from. Just this big boar came in and took over his acorn patch. So I never saw the bear that was running my direction again, but I did see that big bear, and he was up against a bluff, and I was like, you know what? If I haul butt out of this canyon and make a loop around, I think I can get a shot at this bear with my bow from above. So that's what I did. Is I went around, got over there in about 25 minutes. I crept up to the edge of the bluff. I looked down, and of course the bear's not there, right?
Yeah, always.
And I look over to my right, and I see another bear coming up the hill. It looked like a cinnamon bear. So I'm like, well, that bear's right there. I'm going to go after that bear. I go over there. That bear ended up running off because of something. It wasn't me. I had the wind and everything. But then I look down below, and I see another bear walk out, a chocolate bear. And it was at 95 yards, a little far for my liking in that type of country.
Sure.
And then I look right beneath me, and then I see the bear that I was looking for. And I mean, I looked at my feet.
Oh,
Like that's where the bear was, and he was looking down towards that chocolate bear. And long story short about all this, I ended up getting a shot at that bear at, I believe it was 18 yards above him, above the bear. Put 2 arrows right over his back.
Oh.
When I missed, though, this is what I'm getting at with the little victories thing. When I missed, it let me know. I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it was a matter of inches. That's all. I did everything else right, except I just screwed up on the shot.
Yeah.
And so from there, I was just gun ho. I'm like, I'm doing this. Like it was bow or bust for me with a bear. So the next season, the next spring, that was in the fall. The next spring comes, and I go out, and my brother and I go into an area we've never been before. Just make this long drive. We get there. We start seeing bears right away in this area. And first, I think it was the first evening. Yeah, the first evening we saw a couple bears. I saw a giant red bear trailing a sow. This was during the rut of the bear rut. Saw this giant red bear trailing the sow, just a little too far away to make a run at given the time of day. So I'm like, all right, we're going to come back in here first thing in the morning, and these bears are going to be here. Come back in first thing in the morning, and sure enough, I pick up the sow. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, okay, I'm about to make a run at this sow. But then right below me, another bear comes walking right below us, probably 120 yards, a golden bear that my brother spotted. So he grabs his bow and he starts running after this bear. He goes around and tries to cut this bear off. And the bear was just moving, like if you've ever watched bears, anybody's out there's ever watched bears, when they're moving, they're moving. They almost float across a hill,
Yeah.
So my brother, he had only got, I think closest he got to that bear was 80 yards and just couldn't get a shot, So he comes back up and we're back at our glassing spot. I'm sitting there eating a snack and I look down into the cannon and I see this black thing down there. And to my knowledge, I'm like, oh, that's another burnt stump, right?
There's plenty of them out there that look like bears when you're glassing.
Right, a lot of stump bears. So
yeah,
I pull up my binoculars and it's actually a boar mounting a sow right beneath us. I've never seen anything like that before. I'm like, holy dude, look at this bear, Jake. Jake's my brother. Like this boar's mounting this sow right here below us. It was 400 yards away. And after about 5 minutes, I was like, they're not going anywhere. I think I'm going to make a run at this bear, dude.
Hey guys, this is Eric from Late to the Game Outdoors and producer of Hunting Stories. I wanted to thank Bun and Beanster for making this show possible. These guys are the real deal. Whether you're a seasoned business owner or a startup or running a side hustle like I am, they can help you with your branding, logo, easy to manage websites, and fresh creative ideas for your business. They can also help you look the part by helping you design those tricky one-off events. They deliver amazing printed goods, quality apparel, even signage. Truly a one-stop creative shop, and they stand by their work guaranteed. For free consultations and useful resources, go to bunandbeanster.com to check them out, or catch them on Instagram at bunandbeanster. Now back to the show.
So I grab my stuff and I start bailing down the hill. This is super steep country. Started bailing down the hill, and how it was set up was the bears were on this spine, all right, on top of this spine, and my plan was to go above them. If you could say up, if the spine was a creek, I'd be going up creek from the bears. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So and
Totally.
then I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk that spine down, and I'm gonna run into them. So that's what I did. Now the whole time I'm going over there, of course, there's all these like weird things going through my head. Like I'm going up this really thick face, and I'm just thinking at any second this boar is gonna come charging down the hill to protect his sow, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah. So I get up there. I get up to the top, and this sounds kind of funny, but I saw the bushes shaking in front of me. I'm not joking. Yeah, I saw some, and then I'm like, it's not windy,
Yeah.
And then I hear this noise. I'll never forget it. It was like, it goes, and I was like, man, I saw a little bit of black moving, and I'm like, holy crap, they're right there in front of me. I ranged it, and they were at 40 yards, and the boar was still breeding the sow. So
wow,
yeah, unbelievable. I wish I had a GoPro when this was going on, because it would have been unbelievable. But I kept creeping forward, and I got to 25 yards, and there was a fallen log obstructing the boar's view of me. So the bears were behind this fallen log, and each time that boar put his head below that log, I would take a couple steps.
Oh man!
And the sow, the whole time, the sow's trying to get away. She's trying to get away, and the boar would just grab her by her scruff, kind of like the back of her neck with his mouth, and just shove her back down underneath that log. And it was intense, man. I never seen anything like that before. Just awesome. And the sow finally got away. The boar goes and walks away. He's walking away from me. So I'm like, oh, goodness gracious, I better draw my bow. I don't want him to walk away from me out of my life. I draw my bow, and then he just sits down up against a tree like a dog, panting. He he had no idea that I was there. He's sitting there facing me, and then so I'm like, okay, the angle's bad on this shot. Let me move a little bit to my left to try to get a better angle. Well, he caught me. He caught me moving. So he
Oh.
looks at me and he stands up on his hind legs, and I'm like, this is my dream shot. I drew my bow back. I drew my bow back, and the angle wasn't right. His arm was in the way of the vital, so I let down, and he's still curious. So he gets back down on all fours. He starts walking towards me, and he gets up on top of that fallen log, and he's just trying to figure me out, like, and now I'm thinking, oh, cool. I'll have a shot right through his chest, right? Because he's got his front legs up on this fallen log facing me. But I draw my bow, and then his head is down though. If you ever watch a bear walk around, they walk around with their heads down. So his head was blocking his chest. So I kind of let down again. So then he gets up on top of the fallen log. And the whole time that this is going on, the sow is over to my right. All right. And I can't see her. It's very thick. I can't see her. For all I know, she could be 5 yards away.
Oh, man.
But I know that she's over there somewhere. And I know just from hunting deer, like hunting deer during the rut, the guys are going to go where the ladies go. Right. And I just had a feeling, I'm like, he's gonna turn up on that log and start walking towards that sow, which would have put him broadside for me.
Yeah.
So sure enough, he did that. I drew my bow back again, picked the spot, shot, hit the bear. The bear did a monkey flip off of that log, ran down into the bottom of this draw, and immediately the first thing I did, I knew I hit that bear good. I put my bow down and grabbed my handgun.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
I didn't know where the sow was. Well, I looked to my right, and she's looking at me at like 8 yards.
Oh, dude.
And I was like, I start yelling at her and stuff. I'm like, get out of here, blah, blah. And she's not moving.
Oh,
so
man.
Then I pick up a rock, and I throw it at her, and I walk towards her with my arms in the air going, get out of here, blah, 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 yelling at her. And then when she realized what I was, or what I wasn't for that matter, she probably didn't know what I was. It was like she did a double take of me, like her head shook a little bit. And then she just bailed down into the canyon. So that was that. Yeah. It was in the evening. I went and I picked up my arrow, and the blood was actually dark. So I was like, man, maybe he was a little more turned than I thought, which would have put my arrow actually in the liver, maybe I shot a little left, you know what I mean? So I saw that, and I was like, you know what? This is my first archery bear. I do not want to lose this animal. It sounds bad, but I'd rather lose a little bit of meat than lose the whole animal and bump it. Right. Yeah. So what I did is I backed out, and I came back in first thing in the morning and followed blood. And we walked up on this bear just laying there. The bear still was in rigor mortis, which meant that I made the right call. Because if anybody knows, so what happens when an animal dies, they're limp, and they kind of go through this process, right? Like they're limp, and then they're stiff, and then they get limp again once they're past rigor mortis. So that bear wasn't dead for a super long time. So I was happy about that, and I didn't lose any meat on it.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, and then brother and I we cut that bear up and just both packed it out back to the truck, and like the feeling of accomplishment was just unreal for me. I if I'm being honest, I mean the last 100 yards where I could see my truck, I put my trekking poles on my back and walked it without trekking poles, and I just had tears rolling down my face as I was walking back to the truck, just because it was just such a long time coming, just putting these two things together that I love so much, bear hunting and bow hunting, and getting to do it in a place that was so special and in the way that I wanted to do it, was just unforgettable for me.
Yeah. Oh, dude, there's just anyone I think who's harvested an animal knows that, like, that flood of emotions, and they come and go, and like you're still on a pack out and you get hit with like a fresh wave of,
Oh yeah,
of that accomplishment or emotion. And dude, I feel like my heart rate is elevated just picture it, like, just how deep in and close to two different bears, and like they're looking at you and sizing you up. And
yeah, man.
that is incredible. And I just love, I mean, for that boar that you took, you can't, I mean, what else could he ask for? Like, that is just of all the ways to go.
Yeah,
he died a happy
he
bear.
died with a smile on his face. I'm telling you what, man, it was awesome.
Oh man, dude, just your persistence, not only in that hunt, but like I mean, just for the whole archery deer process. Like I know we were talking a little before the show, and you mentioned it early on, but just that lesson to be learned, like if you want to pull that out for listeners, that we can't all find a boar who is actively mounting a sow, but
Right.
but I think we can all learn something from like how you approached that, if you want to just speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Hunting's hard. Okay, like
Amen.
it just is. And if you apply, this can be applied to anything in life. Persistence is key, in my opinion. It doesn't matter if you're starting a business, if you're trying to, kill your first archery bear. It doesn't matter. You need to just keep at it and never give up, and keep your eyes on the prize, and eventually you will get there. You will. You just have to know that. And recognize these little victories, because in my opinion, they're positive reinforcement, and they put gas in the tank. Because if you don't have that, if you don't recognize that, I feel like it's very easy to get discouraged. Like, imagine how you'd feel if you go and you start a business and you're just stressing out all the time because you don't have enough work right now. Well, maybe something to look at is just kind of where you came from, like how far has the business come since you started it?
Yeah.
Right. Do that with hunting, like how far have you come since the beginning? I think we get caught up in the moment a lot, and we kind of fail to see the true victories that we've accomplished. And it really comes down to, I mean, this whole thing is like, this is so much more. What a great example. It's so much more than wrapping a tag around something. You get so much more out of hunting rather than, when you walk up on the animal and it's over. Because when it's over, it's over. But you look at everything before that, though, like that's the story. And that's where all the lessons are, is everything before. So
that's so true. That's the heartbeat behind this whole thing that I'm doing, is trying to get guys to go try hunting, not just because I love hunting and the meat's great and all that stuff, but there's so much good that I think it does the soul of a man to pursue animals and stick with it when you're failing, and like it's just so rewarding. It's hard to put words to all the time.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I love what you just said.
Awesome.
Dude, Josh, thank you for that story. And before we wrap this up, like where can guys follow you, check out what you're doing? You're a busy guy and a wealth of knowledge. So where can guys find you?
Yeah. Man, so I run a website called dialedinhunter.com. It's a blog. It just kind of, gear reviews. I do like general hunting talk. I put videos out on there and stuff. People can get a hold of me through there, or I'm also on all of the social channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. People can just search Dialed In Hunter, and you can connect with me like that.
Dude, awesome. Anyone listening, if you aren't already a follower, go follow him. Tons of great content. You're also quite a great photographer. So
Oh,
I know every time you show up in my Instagram feed, I'm like, man, that guy can take
thank you,
pictures.
dude.
So it's a worthwhile follow for sure. But Josh, we're gonna have you back on and have you share some more stories and some more knowledge, because you're a stud. So thanks again for the time.
You're a stud, man. Thank you.
I want to thank Josh again for being on the show, and if you guys got anything out of what he was sharing, please do me a favor, go follow him on Instagram or Facebook or whatever you're into, at Dialed In Hunter. DialedInHunter.com. His website is just packed full of helpful information for pretty much anything you could wonder or have a question about in the hunting world. So check him out, and we will have him back on the show very soon. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in to Hunting Stories. And if you want to stay up on what we're doing with the podcast or anything else going on with Late to the Game, go ahead and check us out at latetothegameoutdoors.com or give us a follow on Instagram at latetothegameoutdoors. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.